Hello everyone and welcome to NEC TV's Game of the Week. Tonight from the Augusta Civic Center in Augusta, it's Western Maine Class B quarterfinal round action for the girls as the #1 York Wildcats are hosting the #8 Mountain Valley Falcons. Hi everybody, I'm Eric Nelson along with Bob Gould tonight from Augusta as we begin the long trek through what hopefully will be a very successful playoff journey for our local teams. Bob, tonight we see the York girls with a record of 17-1, the #1 seed and really overwhelming favorite to make it all the way to the finals here.
Yeah, there's not much question. They come in real heavy favorites, and I guess if anything, that's the only thing that they have working against them because there's, I think, some pressure on them coming in as the heavy favorites. Everybody pretty much expects them to cakewalk right through this, and as we've seen in the past, 2 out of the last 4 years, the prohibitive favorite coming in lost, and that was Marshall, of course, 2 years ago, and 3 years ago they lost, and so a lot of pressure on the girls, and it's tough to get up for another team, when in fact you are coming in such a heavy favorite.
I think tonight, though, there might not be a lot of problem with York getting up because they're playing a Mountain Valley team that is 10-7. The Falcons won their preliminary round game against Cape Elizabeth in Rumford, 41-29. Lisa Zanoni had 10 points in that game. But Mountain Valley's the team that knocked York out of the tournament last year in the quarters.
That's right. That's a good factor, and you have that revenge factor, and I'm sure that Coach Clark has tried to use that throughout the week. The other thing being that I think York and Mountain Valley, since Mountain Valley has become Mountain Valley, has really become a rivalry between these two schools. So they don't get to see each other during the year, and I think they kind of like to show each other what the best in each other when they do get that opportunity to play, and usually it is during the playoffs.
Yeah, what do you think are going to be the key factors tonight, Bob?
Well, I guess mainly you'd have to look at the key factors for Mountain Valley since they are the big underdogs, and talking to John Bernard prior to the game, the head coach at Mountain Valley, he said that they need to handle the pressure from York because they know that York applies good pressure. They remember that from a year ago. They also need to keep York off the rebounds and off the boards. They cannot allow York to take multiple shots at the basket, and York's been doing that all year long with their dominant inside game. They also got to stop Kristen Briggs from penetrating because Kristen Briggs, when her penetration can dish off, can create a lot of offense. So they need to handle that. The other thing is they need to utilize their quickness. He feels they have an advantage in quickness. They need to utilize that quickness against the height advantage that York does have.
Yeah, the Wildcats on the flip side, Bob, really just have to continue doing what they've done so successfully all year.
That's right, and I think, again, that's the important thing for Coach Clark is to maybe drill in the fundamentals, some of the things that they have done well, and continue to do them right. A lot of times they may see themselves with decent shots, but they have to take the best shot that they can get against this team, and I think that's the most important thing. Not to settle for maybe just the shot that Mountain Valley is willing to give them, but maybe being patient enough to get the shot that they want to take in a given situation.
Throughout the playoffs, we'll be bringing you our special pregame feature, which is the introduction of the starting lineups and key players for tonight's game, and also a conversation with the head coach. So we'll bring you that interview and the starting 5 right now. The York Wildcats finished the season with a record of 17-1 and are the #1 seed in the upcoming tournament. Today, in the quarterfinal round, they will play the Mountain Valley Falcons. And let's meet today's starting lineup. At point guard, a senior, number 23, Kristen Briggs. She averaged 9.7 points a game and led the team in assists at 5.5. At the other guard position is a junior, number 21, Jonna Weaver, who averaged just under 7 points a game and was 4th on the team in rebounding with 5.8. At one of the forward spots is Andrea Little, a sophomore, who led this team in scoring and was 2nd in rebounding with 10.6 a game. At the other forward spot is senior Laura Coughlin, who averaged 8.3 points per game and was 3rd on the team in rebounding with 8.7 a game. And the starting center on this club for the Wildcats is sophomore Joanna Brown, who is 2nd on the team in scoring and 1st in rebounding with 11.2. And the head coach of the York Wildcats in his 10th season is Rick Clark. I talked to Clark about the season and today's game against Mountain Valley. Rick, one of the more successful regular seasons for you, 17-1. You finish as the #1 seed in Western Maine. Give us a little recap on your thoughts on the regular season.
I think we had a successful season. One of the best parts about it was I think our defense was consistent the whole season long. We didn't have very many down spells with that aspect of the game. They carried us 2 or 3 times when the offense sputtered a little bit. But you know, the girls, I think, approached the season one game at a time. Each game was approached specifically for that game, and it paid off in the course of the season. We slipped up once, but you know, that happened.
Now, you've made it to the tournament one more time, Rick, and of course you made it for a number of years in a row now, and you've come in at different seeds. Last year, a lower seeded team, and you've had success out of the lower seeds, and I know you've been a #1 seed a couple of times. What's the approach? Is it a little bit different? There's a little more pressure being #1?
Well, we're trying not to emphasize that part of it, but we've always approached the tournament as if there are 8 teams in the tournament, all 8 belong there. And once the tournament starts, whoever is playing the best basketball at that time is eventually going to be the winner. And that's the same way we're approaching this, basically. We're playing pretty well, concentrate on the things we've done well all season long, and just play the game. And if they can approach it that way, and I think they will, then you know we should be doing well up there, hopefully.
You've suffered a number of injuries during the course of the season where you've had some girls who have been out. Still, you lost just the one game. Has it been difficult for you to get the team playing the way that you'd like them to play going into the tournament with all the girls with these nagging injuries?
I think, ironically, because we lost Andrea Little after 9 games, and we had to play 6 games without her, and about the 3rd game without her, we started to really click, you know, in a new rotation of people off the bench, etc. And got real comfortable with that. And then, you know, Andrea was healed, and we brought her back in gradually, and she started the last 2 games. And I think, despite the fact that she's one of the better players in the league, you have to adjust the fact she's back in, and the people are moving in a different direction and a little different speed, etc. So those 2 games were valuable to us to do that. And I think with the scrimmage we had this past week, we're back in the sync, and hopefully it'll start to show in the tournament. But it's tough making those adjustments.
Being the #1 seed, of course, you get the winner of the prelim game. Mountain Valley defeated Cape Elizabeth. Cape was a team you had beaten during the regular season. Mountain Valley, a team you didn't see during the regular season, but still a club that you saw last year in the tournament and lost to in Augusta. So I'd imagine with some of these girls, I'd imagine they'd like to see Mountain Valley and get a chance to beat them.
Well, I think I saw Mountain Valley last night in the prelim game when they beat Cape, and they're very similar to Cape, their size, their movement, etc. So I feel comfortable playing them. In addition, as you said, some of the girls would like to get a little revenge or have a little payback for last year's loss to them. And it's a different team. They're minus the real big girl, and their best point guard is out with a knee injury. I don't think she'll be back in time to play in this game, unfortunately for them. But you know, they're the kind of team that I think if we play our game, we should be able to do pretty well again.
All right. Good luck, Rick.
Thank you.
Well, let's see if the Wildcats can indeed play their game and advance to the semifinal round. Bob and I will be back in just a moment with the opening tap-off on NEC TV's Game of the Week. And welcome back, everyone, to NEC TV's Game of the Week. High above courtside at the Augusta Civic Center in Augusta. Eric Nelson along with Bob Gould and Steve Twombly on camera. And now for tonight's starting lineups.
All right, first of all, for the #8 seeded Mountain Valley Falcons, their starting guards are Carrie Chasson along with Mariah Muse. And at the forward slots, we have Heather Richard and Elisa Zannoni. And at the center is Sarah Cummings. For the York Wildcats, at the guards are Jonna Weaver and Kristen Briggs. At the forwards, Laura Coughlin and Andrea Little. And at the center is Joanna Brown.
2 officials for tonight's game, Sean Anton and Rodney Buck. Anton will toss it up between Cummings and Brown. York controls the opening tap. Kristen Briggs lays it in, and York draws first blood.
Right off the tap, and York controlling the tap with his size and then using the speed of Kristen Briggs for the easy first 2. Nice to get on the board early.
Wildcats lost just 1 game during the season. That was to Scarborough by 10, 52-42. It'll be York basketball.
And a turnover, and that's something that Mountain Valley even in a half-court game, have to be very aware of. This is a very quick York Wildcat team. They have good size, but also good quickness.
Falcons running a little bit of a press here, Bob.
Well, I think they'll be impressed by the fact of Andrea Little, how she handles the ball on the press.
Coughlin, the quick turnaround, and it's 4-0 York.
And that's what we talked about, York being patient and getting the ball and getting their shot. They worked it, got it down low.
Our first foul call of the basketball game will go against Kristen Briggs of York.
Well, if York has any concerns, of course, throughout this entire tournament, is to make sure Kristen Briggs stays out of foul trouble. She's very aggressive, and that time she got called for the body foul.
Opening moment of the first quarter here in the first playoff game, the first of 42 here at the Civic Center in Augusta as they celebrate their 15th year of hosting the Western Maine regional tournaments for classes B, C, and D, as there's another steal by the Wildcats. Briggs running the break, will stop from 12, misses, and the rebound comes to the Falcons.
Joanna Brown down the other end, knocked the ball away from Cummings inside. York quickly, once they get the ball, quickly moved it down the other way.
And another foul against York. This time it's going to go on Joanna Brown.
We see that Mountain Valley, though, trying to get the ball low. Sarah Cummings, a good-sized girl. She's 5'11", got some good size, and not as big as Cindy Blodgett a year ago, but nevertheless takes up some space inside.
Traveling violation against Heather Richard, or Muse, excuse me, Muse, and it's yet another turnover.
1-2-2, three-quarter court trap.
Little trying to go to Brown, and it'll be Mountain Valley ball. We're down to the 6:18 mark here, 4-0 York.
That time I think York might have been well to just settle and set up their offense. You want to be looking inside, but that time it would have taken a very difficult pass, and even if she had got the ball, there wasn't a lot she could do with it.
Man pressure by York. Briggs working on Carrie Chasson. Here's Heather Richard with a basketball.
See man-to-man pressure by York.
Shot from outside, rebounded by Brown off the miss from Zanoni.
That was their first shot of the game.
Took them 2 minutes just to get a shot off.
They've been patient, though. They've been trying to get the ball inside, and they have picked up a couple of early fouls.
Coughlin from the baseline. And good position by Zanoni as Andrea Little picks up her first foul, and that is the team's third, Bob, and we're just 2:18 into the game.
Well, York's come out here aggressive. They're an aggressive ball club. Good thing for them is they have a good bench that allows them to bring some players off that really don't hurt them. People like Kathleen Byrne and Martell. Kristen Briggs has to be careful. They reached across, and you don't want to be reaching across with the inside hand because you will pick up the foul with the inside hand. You got to reach across with the other hand if you're going to be doing that. But again, I don't know if York has to do that in this situation.
Zanoni in the paint. Thought we might have a traveling call there, but we get a foul against Laura Coughlin.
I believe Coughlin was called for the trip. And again, York coming out here looks maybe a little tense here to come out to start here a little bit. Having trouble getting in the flow of it defensively.
4 team fouls now. Zanoni lost it in the paint. Here's Jonna Weaver. Weaver gets it poked away, but it comes right to Kristen Briggs. Tried to use the backboard. Andrea Little follows it in.
And that's one of the keys, talking to John Bernard, is they have to keep them off the glass, and there they get the second opportunity.
6-0 York, 5:10 left in the first quarter.
And already 5 turnovers by the Falcons in this game. York is not really a great shooting team on the season. Their shooting statistics, they're only a 36% shooting team from the field, but they have so many more opportunities than their opponents.
Because they've out-rebounded their opponents by a large margin, you know. And you get 3 girls averaging 9 rebounds a game or more. Another foul.
York with a turnover tried to force it inside to Coughlin. I think if anything for York right now, the nice thing is I think they've distributed their fouls pretty well to this point.
Yeah, it's Jonah Weaver, so 5 team fouls, 1 on each starter.
Well, maybe we should just get everybody in a foul picture here, just to get a feel, get in a flow, and then
yeah.
get you 1 foul of the way. I mean, you have to foul. A foul is part of the game. If you don't draw any fouls, if you don't commit any fouls in a game, then you're really not playing good defense.
Dot McPherson, number 23, throws the ball away. She is just a freshman, so Mountain Valley with 2 freshmen on the court now.
So York get a good one here on their set offense. They love to run, but they also could do a nice job in a half court.
Brown, the baseline move, draws the foul. Be the first on Sarah Cummings and the first on the Mountain Valley team. One thing I don't know if we mentioned or not, Bob, is the absence of Kim Biot, the Mountain Valley point guard, who dislocated her kneecap and is in street clothes today.
Well, she's one of the, as talking to Coach John Bernard prior to the contest, and he said that she's the best player he has ever coached. And we saw her a year ago, and she's certainly an outstanding player. Joanna Brown at the free throw line for the season, one of the better free throw shooters on the team, averaging 61%. She's also averaging 11.9 points, which is second on the team. I think she's been a real pleasant surprise for this York team.
Yeah, the 2 sophomores, her and Andrea Little, who start, have done an excellent job. She makes one of the free throws. It's a 7-0 York lead, 4 minutes and 20 seconds left here in the first quarter. So the Wildcats have not allowed a point up to this point. Again, continue to play aggressive man-to-man defense.
York doing a good job cutting off the passing lanes.
Cummings way out top. Heather Richard driving and drawing foul number 2 on Brown.
Joanna, if she'd maybe just got there a little bit quicker, could have maybe drawn the charge, seen it coming, but I think she got herself kind of in between and couldn't quite make up her mind if she had an opportunity to get in there quick enough or not. In that instance, she probably would have been better to just try to back off. But that's a lot easier up here, looking at it down, looking down at the game.
A lot easier said than done.
Right.
6th team foul. It'll be a shooting foul for sophomore Heather Richard, left-handed shooter. And Mountain Valley still looking for their first points with 3:58 left in the first quarter. They scored just 41 against Cape Elizabeth in the prelim on Wednesday.
Well, Cape Elizabeth's big injury in that ball game. They lost their starting point guard in the beginning of that game, and that sure would have been a lot tighter game had she not gone down with an injury.
And that's the first point of the game for Mountain Valley. It's now 7-1 as Kathleen Byrne, number 30, a 5'9" junior, comes in for Joanna Brown, who will sit down with 2 fouls.
Small crowd on hand here for this afternoon. A lot of people not out of work yet.
Coughlin missing. York ball. Still bear in mind, again, as we mentioned, Bob, the first of 42 games here. It is Friday. As you mentioned, people are just getting out of work, and I expect we'll see more people filter in as we get closer to the 2 boys games tonight. This is the first of 4 quarterfinals for the girls. 1 more will be played on Saturday, 2 more on Monday.
Little nice baseline move.
We'll get it blocked by Zanoni and then retrieved it and drew the foul.
Good strong work inside by Andrea Little. Worked the baseline nicely. As you mentioned, did get it blocked, but didn't give up on the shot. Came away with the ball. Took it again strong to the hoop.
Corrine Law, a 5'10" senior, number 11, commits the foul. That is her first, the team's second. So John Bernard has gone 7 deep on his bench in the first quarter for Mountain Valley.
Andrea Little is, I think, well, she's pretty much the best shooter on the team. 72% for someone who's taken a lot of shots. And she's also leading scorer on the team at 12, a little over 12 points a game.
And she leads the team here in the first quarter, Bob, with 4 as she makes both free throws. And pushes the lead to 8, 9-1 as they almost come up with another steal.
York a little pressure on the inbounds after the made basket.
Law, all net.
That's only the Mountain Valley's second shot that I have logged.
First field goal comes at the 3:10 mark as the Wildcats turn it over.
Now Kathleen Byrne getting a first taste of action this year in the tournament, and that one there got through her hands.
Another sub for the Falcons, number 33, Mary Vigor, a 5'9" sophomore. Both these teams pretty young, Bob.
Yes, very young as we look at both clubs, and Mountain Valley even starting a freshman, and York going with a couple of sophomores. So both teams, I'm sure, going to be strong for some time to come.
Christian Briggs with the basket. Opens the lead up to 8, 11-3. Another turnover. Briggs up ahead to Little. And she gets fouled on the play by McPherson.
It's interesting because watching this York team play Mountain Valley here tonight, when we get a chance to see if we do the Mountain Valley boys in any of the games, they're very reminiscent of the York girls team. You cannot hold that ball out anywhere, and if you do, they'll take it and they'll put it in the basket before you can blink an eye. Look at.
And just miscommunication there. Briggs looking for Weaver, and she just was not expecting the pass.
Even though York has an 11-3 in the lead here, I don't really know if they're on top of their game right now. But they are hustling all over the place, and that's going to pay dividends for them.
York ball as it went off of Law. Yeah, I don't really think that they're completely in sync.
Got Mountain Valley with 8 turnovers to this point.
Oh, the lob from Little to Briggs. And through her hand, so Mountain Valley will break it up. Here's Muse. That should be offensive, and it is. Good position by Jonna Weaver.
Nice job. She had nowhere to go. And if anything, she should have taken the ball instead of shooting it like a shot put and trying to ride into the play. If she'd have pulled up and taken a shot and gone straight up, she'd have been better off. But, I think she knew she was going up against a bigger player and just tried to draw some contact. But unfortunately for her, she got called for the foul.
4th team foul against the Falcons. There are 6 against York. Down to the 2:15 mark, left here in the first. Lob into Coughlin. Off the back of the rim, Andrea Little with the follow.
And they're just pounding the backboards. Andrea Little that time, and little give and go action inside by Briggs and Coughlin.
There's a steal by Briggs, the bounce to Weaver for 2 more. And Wildcats have opened up a 12-point lead, and John Bernard calls time.
Well, York starting to get into firing all cylinders there. What's happening is, because of York's pressure, now Mountain Valley is getting a little hesitant to make a pass or to do anything. And when you get a team playing back on their heels, that defensive pressure of York's just comes out to bear even more and more. And Mountain Valley, I think, coming in really not aware of maybe how good that York pressure was, and really didn't let it bother them too much early. But now I think as they're playing against it, and all of a sudden every time they turn around the ball, they've got a hand on the ball, again, they're becoming more reluctant, and that's the worst thing that you can do against pressure, is all of a sudden start to holding on to the ball and being afraid to make a pass and not stepping to the ball.
Really, the last minute has been a trademark of the York program, boys and girls. The fact that offense is being created off of the defensive pressure.
Well, I think that's how the game has changed over the years. I think the game has changed that much. And years ago, it was pound the ball inside, slow it down, pound it inside. Now it's play defense, get the ball and get it in transition, get it back to the hoop as quickly as you can.
Which makes the guards that much more of an important factor in the games.
That's
now.
No question about it. I think it takes good guards to win tournaments. I think we've seen that over the past few years up here. In the first quarter, York right now ahead 15-3. Not uncharacteristic for them. They are outscoring their opponents 277 to 114. That's almost 2.5 to 1 throughout the throughout the season.
Carrie Chasson gets Mountain Valley's 2nd field goal of the game to cut the lead to 10, 15-5. And we also see for York, Stacy Kennedy, a 5'5" senior, come into the game. And this is nice for Rick Clark. He gets a 12-point lead. He gets to bring some people into the game to get him a feel for the court and the action.
Absolutely. They're looking a long way down the road. They don't want to look by this one. You're going to take them one game at a time. But by the same token, he's looking to get some kids some experience.
Traveling, but I think it's nice because Kennedy is more of a role player that maybe you wouldn't see as early as early in a game as you see her now, but she's a senior who's put in her time, and I think it's nice that she's out on the court, and she could be a key factor before the tournament's all over.
Absolutely.
Inside layup made by McPherson.
And then Mountain Valley did a nice thing there because they attacked the basket. Once they had broken the pressure, they went right to the hoop, and that's what you need to do. You make people pay for putting on the pressure.
Kennedy from Little. Missed the shot. Coughlin's there to follow it in.
And again, they're just dominating the boards. When they miss, they've got somebody right there for the rebound.
Corrine Law from the wing.
Corrine Law. I think the fouls, the early fouls on York, is to back them off a little bit when Mountain Valley gets the ball in shooting position. They're not all over them, but giving them a little bit more room to shoot, and as a result, they're able to get some of these shots inside. With the 6 fouls, they don't want to be putting Mountain Valley at the free throw line.
See what the Falcon pressure is here. Briggs bounces to Little. Token pressure, they break it pretty easy.
Well, I think that's the thing. You need to be patient. You need to look up, and this team does a very nice job of looking up into the open player.
Weaver from 15, it might have gotten blocked as we have 15 seconds left here in the first quarter. It was blocked. York will get the ball.
We won't count that as a shot.
You see Sarah Cummings check back in. She comes in for Mary Vigor.
Mountain Valley doing a good job going to the bench also, and that's something that their boys probably use 2 units here. They really like to go to the bench.
Briggs to Little. Oh, what a move by Andrea Little.
Great move, and again, good assist by Briggs.
And the first quarter ends. Andrea Little with 8 first quarter points, and York leads it by 10 here after the first 8 minutes from the Civic Center in Augusta on the Star Mountain scoreboard. In this quarterfinal round game, it's the York Wildcats 19, the Mountain Valley Falcons 9.
Take the Star Mountain Challenge. No one will work harder to earn your business. No one cares more, and no one sells for less. At Star Mountain Motors, our commitment to you for the best in product, selection, service, and price has never been stronger.
9 after 1 quarter, York leading Mountain Valley. And we see Jessica Martell check into the game for the Wildcats. She is a 5'6" sophomore.
And she's been done a nice job all year long. Very quick defensively. And very poised. So York in a 1-3-1. Fouls them to trap. You'll be looking from the trap in the corners and out in front.
That's one thing that, I mean, any veteran coach, especially Rick Clark, who's considered one of the best coaches in the state, they make those changes to try to, you know, a team gets into a rhythm after the first quarter, boom, he comes out, changes up with his own. Something to give the other team something to think about.
Absolutely, that's what coaching is all about. You have to get a little feel for when you're going to make these changes, and maybe the personnel that's out there for you and for the other team.
Second foul on Laura Coughlin, but just 17 seconds here into the second quarter puts Mountain Valley in the bonus. And Cummings missed the front end and then a double dribble.
See, you know, you'd think, you know, that coaching's easy enough to the point where you could just say, well, okay, start the second quarter, I'll just go to 1-3-1, and then about 3 minutes in, but you can't do that either. I mean, you have to have a feel for the game and what the situation dictates.
Joanna Brown in the low block.
The one thing you need to do is to have all of those tools in your mind so that you know, again, the situation, when to use them.
Another steal, Weaver all the way to the basket. York ball, as York has tied their biggest lead, 12 points.
We've got 10 turnovers for Mountain Valley. York, uncharacteristically, 6 turnovers in that first quarter.
Corrine Law with the rebound off the miss from Brown. Zanoni blocked by Coughlin. Law travels, no basket.
Well, the leading blocker on the team, 17 blocks this year, is Laura Coughlin, and she can add another one right there. That's number 18.
So it's pretty much won a game. Oh, Brown with a smart play.
Well, again, she doesn't look like a sophomore. When you make those types of little plays like that, sometimes, you know, the normal fan sitting there looking at it doesn't think that's much of a play, but she was trapped, and that's a real headsy play.
Weaver penetrates all alone, and she missed the shot. It's taken by Zanoni. Through Corrine Law's hands, and it'll be York ball.
Well, again, this pressure is just dictating to Mountain Valley. They're not able to handle the pressure.
Oh, textbook there by York.
Absolutely.
Brown It's fouled by Chasen.
I think Joanna had one more pass, and that would have been absolutely perfectly broken. I think she had one more pass right back to Martell, and that one would have been textbook all the way for 2.
That is just the 5th team foul against Mountain Valley, the first on Carrie Chasen. So York will inbound it with 6:37 left in the half and leading 21-9.
Kristen Briggs, she's been a leader on this team all year. She's a person that can really bring the poise out in them.
Lob's too far for Coughlin. Martell, the battle with Cummings, and the possession light will go to York.
Well, York trying to work the ball inside, but maybe forcing it a little bit on the inside, trying to lob over it. And I think if they worked a little harder, they may be able to get some seals, get the Peterson sealed off. They can make the pass a little bit easier. Maybe be a little bit more patient on offense.
Briggs will try the 3. It's off. Brown the rebound, missed the follow shot. Martell, Jessica Martell at just 5'6", fighting hard for the rebound.
Again, when you dominate the boards, though, why be patient, right? You got to dominate the rebounding action like that. Again, Coach Bernard said, if they're gonna pound the boards on us and take shot after shot after shot, there's just nothing we can do to stop them.
That was only the 18th three-pointer attempted by this team this year. Little in for Coughlin.
Well, Laura gone out, did a nice job. Remember that big block, and did a nice job crashing the boards. Great passer. Laura's a great passer. This team really has some role players, some people that really know their roles. Jessica Martell at the free throw line, a 48% free throw shooter on the year.
That was the 6th team foul, first on Zanoni, and Martell makes both. York with their biggest lead, 14 points.
See Mountain Valley trying to push the ball up the court with the pass, via the pass.
Loose ball, and go to Mountain Valley.
Mountain Valley doing a better job, though, of breaking the pressure the last couple times, Eric, with the long side court pass. Sideline pass.
Richard, the left-hander, baseline shots, good.
They don't shoot bad. They really don't shoot bad at all.
They just haven't shot that much.
That's right. I've only cut them for 6 shots. I don't think they've missed very many, really.
Joanna Brown. Martell again is there for the rebound. Try it one more time, draws the foul.
York, on the other hand, again, I mean, I've got them unofficially for over 20 shots, and again, Mountain Valley with only 6.
And they've made 5 of them.
Yeah. So they're shooting about that percentage, actually, but again, if you're going to get that many shots, you're going to get something to go in.
Second foul on Sarah Cummins.
If this team ever has one of those good shooting nights, the game's going to be over in about the first 4 minutes.
Both teams now shooting in the bonus. And we'll do that for the final 5:36 of the half.
Yeah, Jessica doesn't look like any 48% free throw shooter. She's what, 3 for 3 there. She looks pretty confident up there also, especially after in a tournament.
Just over 3 points a game, and she surpassed that average with her 4th point.
Nothing but net.
25-11 York.
2-1-2 pressure.
Zanoni all the way. First bucket for Lisa Zanoni. They keep their shooting percentage right up there. Little to Martell. Boy, Martell has 3-4 rebounds last couple trips down.
This is amazing. I don't know if Mountain Valley has missed a shot.
They missed it at least one. There's 6 or 7 apparently.
6 or 7? Okay.
There's a miss by McPherson.
There we go. Put the jinx on him.
Number 30.
I appreciate that.
Number 32, Michelle Belanger. A recent check-in for Mountain Valley, a 5'11 senior.
I know if you look at the shooting statistics, it's probably at halftime. You'll think that if you just look at the stats themselves,
you won't think it's a 14-point game. The winner of this game, as Briggs dumps to Little and rebounded by Chasen. The winner of this game will play the winner of the Kennebunk-Gorham game, the number 4 and number 5 team.
And Kennebunk's had a pretty good year. They've had some injuries, but if they're healthy, they're a solid club. And they're one of the teams that can match up size-wise with York pretty well.
Jump ball to Mountain Valley. Liz Micker is, I guess, is the question mark for Kennebunk and her health coming into that Gorham game. And Gorham has had personnel problems throughout the year. So that it still should be a pretty good game between number 4 and 5.
York's done a pretty nice job. Had some early foul trouble as far as number of fouls, and of late they've seemingly backed off a little bit of their defensive pressure, but still keeping Mountain Valley off the board like this.
Jessica Martell, she's come off the bench to score 8 in the second quarter.
Well, she's played real well, and that's going to be a nice sign for Coach Clark to see her play this well early in the tournament.
Martell that time commits the foul. She hit Zanoni right in the face.
Yeah, they had the ball loose, but a good call.
Her first foul, as we mentioned, both teams shooting in the bonus situation.
Never can fault aggression. Being aggressive, that's one thing a coach loves to see.
Zanoni shooting 1-1.
Mountain Valley 1 for 3 from the free throw line.
Notice Cape Elizabeth just coming in, and they may be the big non-story of this tournament.
Yeah. Kennebunk boys have been here for a while already tonight. So you get another foul call.
Cape Elizabeth, a team that halfway through the year, everybody was ready to hand them the gold ball, and right now they're scrapping for their lives, and they're without one of their key players, I guess. And they're going to have a lot of self-doubt late in the year. They did not play well at all.
Martell at the line after the foul on Belanger. And Martell continues, Bob.
Boy, I'll tell you.
5 in a row from the line.
She says, why don't we play all our home games up here? That's just being focused, too. That's a player who's come in focused, and especially for a player that's coming in off the bench.
York has pushed the lead to 18 midway through the second quarter, 31-13.
Again, Coach Clark just loves to see something like this, because another team that's scouting them goes, oh, we're going to watch that Martell kid off the bench and give him something else to think about and worry about.
Another turnover. Defense has been the story. Here's Martell with Belanger back. Missed it. Joanna Brown really good foul by her own player and traveled. Her and Martell collided.
Again, though, crashing the board.
They had three white shirts on the rebound.
Well, that time Jessica really took a tough avenue to the basket to try to put it in, up and over the front. Didn't go to her left hand. If she had, I think it would have been a little bit easier effort, but tried to take it up and over, and that's tough.
We're going to take a timeout because John Bernard has called one for Mountain Valley with 3 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in the first half. It's the York Wildcats leading the Mountain Valley Falcons in quarterfinal round action, 31-13. Mountain Valley becoming a school, the formation of Rumford in Mexico. Just 3 seasons ago, this is twice the girls have met in the tournament. The boys have already met twice in the tournament.
That's right, and they had 2 of the more memorable finals that you'll ever have, and some great players from both of those teams. Mountain Valley's lost a couple of good ones, Gurney and Gaudette, but they're back here, and they've got another strong representative again this year, and of course, York Wildcats. We know all about them.
Melanie Griffin into the basketball game for York, picks up the loose ball. She's wearing number 24, 4'11" senior. Briggs try another 3, and it's short. So Briggs, who attempted, I believe, 6 all year, has tried 2 in this game.
Well, she's trying to break that record in the book there, I think. I don't know exactly what it is. Got to travel there.
McPherson from the wing. Griffin the rebound, breaks it up to Briggs. Wildcats are going to run. Jonna Weaver, offensive rebound. She's had trouble getting out of the starting blocks here. Griffin, she misses.
She didn't square on that shot. She just kind of threw that one up haphazardly. Can't be too quick to get that ball up. You want to get up there quick, but you want to make sure your shoulders are square to the hoop. I think you're coming a little impatient in their offense also, Eric. But when you're ahead by such a large score, That is bound to happen. As I mentioned, we mentioned in pregame, if one thing York has to guard against is just the fact of what's the word we want to use? Overconfident, I guess.
Briggs.
Again, another one over the front there.
Great feed from Weaver, but they haven't shot well. If you're going to fault them anywhere, I mean, it's hard to fault them with an 18-point lead, but
No,
they haven't shot well.
They haven't shot well at all.
And then the shots they're missing are not 16 to 18-foot jumpers, the inside stuff.
I think, again, York's just in such a big hurry to throw it up there. I think maybe they show a little bit more patience and get themselves a good shot. They still got to work on their offense. They don't want to get sloppy.
Weaver off the double team. Andrew Little fights for the rebound, and it will be York ball. Both of these teams have used a lot of players. John Bernard has used 10 for Mountain Valley. Rick Clark has used 9 for York. Melanie Griffin off the backboard. Weaver the rebound. And York is just dominating on the boards. Is that one controlled by Chasson?
I'll tell you, if I was on the York team, I don't think I'd want to take the first shot. If I was playing this York team, I want to be one of those who gets the rebound, puts it back up, because my chances are better because I'm closer to the hoop.
Traveling against the Falcons. 1:41 left in the first half. Bob and I will have halftime statistics coming your way. Let's bring you our halftime show. Coughlin blocked by Belanger. Here's Chasson. Briggs just outruns her, and Griffin commits the foul.
Coach Bernard would like to see that foul go the other way against Briggs.
Foul number 24, Melanie Griffin, her first.
Serve first. Belanger out. Law in for Mountain Valley.
Kerry Chasen, 1-1.
This is one of the weaker, of course, Biot not in there makes a big difference, but this is one of the weaker Mountain Valley teams that we have seen. In fact, I would have to say it's the weakest team that we've seen to this point. They have been, since they've merged, in every sport, they have been right on top. And this team started off well. They won their first 6 games, and then they lost Biot, and that's when things started to turn around for them.
Chasson at the other end. Mountain Valley's first points in 2.5 minutes. It's actually the game's first point in 2.5 minutes.
Andrea Little that time dribbled to the pressure, then tried to make the pass. You got to recognize the pressure a little bit quicker to dump off the ball.
31-15 York with 1:10 left in the first half.
Good thing for York, though, they've got a lot of people in here.
Yep, Kathleen Byrne back into the ball game, number 30.
That also hurts in trying to run any offensive continuity when you do have a lot of different players playing.
There's a turnover. Loose ball picked up by Zanoni. Law missing. Weaver the rebound.
Nice rebound by Weaver. She's a good rebounder.
Kristen Briggs short, batted around, and Zanoni comes up with it. And Zanoni is fouled by Weaver. It's her second. As I mentioned, they have three girls averaging 8.7 or more, and Weaver is 4th at 5.8.
That's very good for one of your guys getting almost 6 rebounds a game.
Fouls on number 21.
A lot of those obviously are on the offensive rebounding end for your guard.
Elisa Zanoni shooting 2.
Elisa Zanoni, who has 2 points in the game, will shoot 2 free throws. She missed the front end of a 1-and-1 earlier in the quarter. And misses that one. So the Falcons are just 1 for 6 from the line.
Well, we weren't able to get any statistics from John Bernard, and I don't know if they normally are not a good free throw shooting team. They have shot well from the field, however.
Makes the second free throw with 27 seconds left here in the first half. 15-point York lead. Look for the final shot. No, they won't. Weaver, the air ball. Still some time for Mountain Valley. 8 seconds left. McPherson, and that's foul number 2 on Kristen Briggs.
I think Kristen will come out now, and the real go-to person for York in his first half. Jessica Martell coming back in. She's been the most positive thing, I think, for York in this first half.
Yeah, she's got 10 second quarter points.
She played well.
Dot McPherson, a freshman, one of the 2 freshmen on this team. The other is starter Mariah Muse. So as you mentioned, both these teams are young. You know, Mountain Valley's got 2 freshmen, a bunch of sophomores. You know, York starts 2 seniors, a junior, and 2 sophomores. And cans them both with 7 seconds left in the half. Into Byrne, and the half ends. So Mountain Valley scores the last 5 points of the half, as York does not score the last 4 minutes of the second quarter. And we head into the locker rooms at halftime here at the Civic Center in Augusta, with York holding a 31-18 lead.
Well, I think it's just coming too easy for York, and they got a little bit sloppy and didn't take enough time, I don't think, in their shooting. I think they need to be a little bit more patient, both in the shots they take and when they do take the shots. And I'm sure Coach Clark going to remind them, girls, there's another half of basketball to play. But not only that, let's not get ourselves into not playing good basketball, good sound basketball. Sure, you can beat this team just basically by showing up, maybe, but you can't afford to do that game in and game out. And all it's going to take is one effort like this against a team, a hot shooting team and a more solid club, and they could be in trouble. So I'm sure Coach Clark's going to want to come back out, play good solid ball, and get them taking the shots that they want to take.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment with our halftime statistics for you. Our score at halftime on the Star Mountain scoreboard. The York Wildcats leading it here at halftime in this quarterfinal round game over Mountain Valley, 31-18.
Day in
to 18, as you see the York cheerleaders just under the basket cheering on their team to a hopeful victory tonight. And Bob gives us an opportunity here at halftime to take a look at our halftime stats.
I think I get a little inside information from Coach Rick Clark looking at these stats. I think he should shoot all his shots from the free throw line. First half statistics for Mountain Valley, they're shooting very well from the field, 7 for 12 at 58%. The York Wildcats, on the other hand, shooting below their season average, which is not all that good. They are 11 for 37 for 30%. However, at the free throw line, Mountain Valley 4 for 9 at 44%. York, a very good free throw shooting in the first half, 9 for 10, 90%. I believe that's led by Jessica Martell, who had 9 for 9, I believe, or 8 for 8.
6 for 6, you're
well,
getting there.
Close. 6 for 6. If I keep going, you keep nodding your head if I keep coming down, right? In the rebounding action, York dominating on the rebounds, and I'm sure I missed some here, folks. I had it 17 to 10, but even as I look at those stats now, I still shake my head and wonder. I think that they must have had at least 3 times that, it seemed as though. And Mountain Valley did lead in the turnover department 12 to 8, but I think maybe a couple of turnovers too many for York in that first half.
Okay, let's take a look at the individual statistics from the first half. For York, they were led by Jessica Martell's 10 points. She came off the bench in the second quarter, scored all 10 of them there. Andrea Little with 8, all of those points coming in the first quarter. Kristen Briggs and Laura Coughlin have 4 points for York. For Mountain Valley, Carrie Chasson has 6, Corrine Law with 4, and Dot McPherson with 4. Foul trouble in the first half. York did commit a lot of fouls in the first half, if there's any drawbacks. Weaver, Briggs, Coughlin, and Brown all with 2 fouls. Sarah Cummins has 2 for Mountain Valley, 6 other players with 1. So as the York Wildcat girls warm up to start the second half, you look at those shooting statistics, Bob, and they shot 30%. They usually shoot 36%. Really, the number of shots they took is probably right around their average, 37.5. It's 74 a game. That's an awful lot of shots, you know, for a team that averages just 55 points a game.
You know, Eric, I wonder, you know, if maybe they haven't created some bad habits by the fact that they expect to get the rebound, and to the point that when they're shooting, you know, the good thing is they're thinking about going and following the shot. But I mean, it's almost to the point where the most important thing is just getting it up there to the hoop. If we get it up there, we're going to get multiple shots. I don't think maybe they are as concerned, you know, the shot that they need to get in. They just, again, it's just I think maybe it's getting to a point where they've just dominated so much that it's just like, just get it up there and let's just keep it alive.
They've done a good job at that as they lead it by 13 at halftime. York on top of Mountain Valley, 31-18. Bob and I will return with the start of the second half on Game of the Week right after these messages.
Baby.
We'll find out where we can sign up. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Can you tell us where the Just Say No Club talent show sign-up sheets are?
Yeah, you can sign up right over there. The club officers are passing out sign-up sheets.
Thanks.
Hi, Abby. Do you have any more information about the talent show?
Yes, it's February 28th at the Northborough Primary School. It's at 7 o'clock and will be for about 2 hours. To enter, get in touch with the Northborough Schools or Police Department.
Welcome back to the Civic Center in Augusta, the 10th consecutive year that the Wildcat ladies find themselves in the tournament. They have also made it 13 of the past 15 years, Bob, and 13 of the 18 years they've been having a Western Maine Class B tournament. Last time they didn't make it, 1981 and 1982.
Well, yeah, folks, and I know you're going, oh, wow, that Eric Nelson, man, he knows everything, don't he? Well, he knows a few things, but believe me, he had just a little bit of help in those.
I have to give credit there.
You better give credit there if you want any more of that great inside information.
Well, I talked to a gentleman who's got this extremely thick red book down at the head table here, and of course, Mr. Butler.
Well, I don't know what he's going to do, because I'm looking at that thing, and that's starting to come out of its bindings. And I don't know if you can get a book that's much bigger than that, so he may have to go to volume 2 of the facts and figures of the tournament.
He's talking about making a book. May come to fruition someday. Briggs into Brown. We'll have a jump ball, and it'll go to Mountain Valley. But we would, of course, like to thank Bob and Gertrude Butler for all of their help during the year in compiling the heel point stats and giving us insight and giving us scores we may miss. And certainly they are just a, how can you say
wealth of knowledge.
A wealth of knowledge, exactly.
Just great people. I mean, as far as helping out, I think they like, you know, sometimes you hate calling them at 10 o'clock at night and asking them, you feel uncomfortable asking them, but you know, maybe if they weren't so nice about giving you the answer, you wouldn't keep doing it. But I mean, I think they love this just as much as anyone does, and I think they appreciate when other people enjoy it as much as they do. I sense that.
And they will be here for all 42 games of the 1992 tournament. The 15th year it's being held here at the Augusta Civic Center as Chasson misses Brown. Good outlet up to Kristen Briggs. And races the pack and misses a layup.
And we've had a couple of good shot opportunities. Joanna Brown the first time didn't quite square herself before she took a shot, and that time Kristen just hurried her shot a little bit. Kristen a little slow getting it started here.
Minute and a half into the second half, and no points so far. Briggs again will break it out. Offensive foul.
Nice job drawing the foul.
Number 3 on Kristen Briggs.
Player control foul on number 23, Kristen Briggs.
Elisa
Third, team's first.
Elisa Zanoni, a real veteran. She was there a year ago, and she did a nice job getting down ahead of the pack, cut her off on the block. Knew there's only one way she was going to go unless Kristen happened to take it to left hand and go back the other way.
Chasson to Muse in a very nice play. Cuts the lead to 11. It's the closest Mountain Valley's been since the end of the first quarter.
I think they may want to get the ball in Andrea Little's hand. She hasn't seen the ball an awful lot. She's a tough match for anyone.
Coughlin from outside. Rebounded Andrea Little. She lost it. Brown back to Little. And a foul. York has not scored in 6 minutes and 19 seconds unofficially. The overlap from the second and third quarter.
Foul number 40.
Well, it starts wearing on you a little bit also when you start thinking about the shooting. But again, I think they just have to be patient to get their shot. They did the start of the game.
Briggs blocked out of bounds by Muse.
And that time, I think Kristen really did line up a shot, but that time maybe took just a little bit longer than you normally would, and you again, faulted for that because we've been complaining that maybe they're shooting the shots too quickly.
Oh. Good hustle by Joanna Brown and no backcourt. Wow.
Missed the call there.
Briggs to Weaver.
Weaver.
Missed that one.
Yeah.
That was a big turn there for...
Here's Mountain Valley's going to send it right back. And they could have cut the lead to 9 on that possession. Yeah.
I missed it. I think it was just because of where the pass came from.
I think so. No one touched it. Right from Briggs to Brown in the backcourt. A nice hustle, though, by Joanna Brown to get that ball.
That's right. Well, that could take some of the doubt out also.
Yeah, she hustled for it so much. You think that it's not supposed to be backcourt.
That's right. You think they just would have let it go, and if they had, who knows, you know?
Foul underneath the basket.
Some of the boys' teams all coming in. Coach Obermeyer and Coach Duffy here, along with Coach Brault. Coach Brault, of course, not playing tonight, but he's up here watching some of the action and maybe scouting out some of his prospective opponents down the road. Kristen Briggs, a 46% free throw shooter on the season and the 3rd leading scorer at 9.7, but she struggled here this evening.
Just 4 points. She misses both of those free throws. Brown could not save it. 5:11 left in the 3rd. 33-20 in favor of York.
Joanna Brown really hustling all over the court.
Chasson. Foul on Coughlin, but you mentioned, Bob, that's the 3rd on Laura Coughlin, 2nd of the team. You mentioned Bill Obermeyer of Kennebunk here and Rick Brault of York here. It has been really a very good year for York County teams, you know, boys and girls.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of teams. You got Kennebunk, Marshwood, and York girls all up here, and of course the Trape teams both in the tournament. And for the boys, you've got all 4 of the teams down there, and that's a rarity. Whenever you can get York, Wells, Kennebunk and Marshwood all in the tournament, 4 out of 9 teams. That says a lot for the basketball down that area.
Chasson's free throw cuts the lead to 12. Briggs to Brown.
Boy, they can't get it to go down.
Well, Law with the rebound. And possession will go to York.
Law triple team that time. She better get that ball out and get it up over her head, and better be they're not afraid to even dribble it out, but they got to get it out quick. That time she hesitated, and York players all over her.
I think if any, you know, York has to continue to rebound well too. They can't forget to box out. They don't that time. Andrea Little fighting.
One thing nice for Kristen, she hasn't done shot real well tonight herself, but she's continued to try to work the ball inside. She's had a couple of nice passes inside to Joanna Brown, who just can't get them to fall.
Zanoni to Muse.
Zanoni, a beautiful dish to Muse. And Mountain Valley putting a little push on you. They're actually playing very well.
10-point ball game here. As we mentioned, they've closest it's been since the end of the 1st quarter when York had a 19-9 lead.
You got to give them a lot of credit. They're not folding.
Briggs another 3, rolls around. Kept alive by Cummings. Chance to cut it to 8.
Boy, Briggs, that one touched both sides. All around the rim, but nothing went in.
Coughlin, her 2nd block of the night.
Block number 2.
Briggs lines it up and makes sure she makes that rebound.
I'm sure she said, this one has to go in. You're right. You can see her counting her steps, facing herself.
Almost like Cedric Sabalas in the slam dunk competition, the NBA, right?
Oh, right.
Counting off his steps.
Right. Oh, another block, this time by Joanna Brown. They're looking to run. That time, Kristen hadn't broken the field.
There will be a blocking foul on Andrea Little. That is her 2nd. 3rd on the team. York had an 18-point lead midway through the 2nd quarter. Since then, a 10-4 run, and we get a break with 3:41 left in the 3rd quarter. We'll do the same with our score from the Civic Center in Augusta. York 35, Mountain Valley 23.
One of the fastest growing hobbies in the country is sports card collecting.
No, not Mr. Clark. I was talking about the other gentleman, John Carmichael.
Mr. Carmichael.
The assistant coach, John Carmichael.
the Brain Trust.
Oh. Nice
Heather
move.
Richard.
Richard, nice little move there. Got herself free.
Lead back to 10. And a turnover. Richard with the steal. Working on Weaver. Looks like she pushed off with the right arm.
The push off there.
And the basket made by Muse. Suddenly, this is an 8-point game.
York just has to settle down. They got Jessica Martell back in there. She had a good first half, good second quarter, actually. Let's see if we get her in the offense. On 3 guards.
14-4 run over the last 8 or 9 minutes has cut this to an 8-point lead. As a steal. Chasson.
Step to the ball.
Missed the layup. Weaver to Little, got pushed. I don't think the basket's going to count.
York has to step to the ball. The fundamentals, they can't forget the fundamentals. Those we talked about in the pregame. They can't. Those are the things that if they continue to do those, then they'll be fine. But give Mountain Valley a lot of credit, boy. They've worked hard.
Coyne Law's second foul, 4th on the team. Weaver missing.
They've picked up their defensive intensity, Mountain Valley has, and they've gotten some good shots. Got a break here, 4-on-2.
Richard from the baseline, in and out. Coughlin saves. And picked up by Muse. Mountain Valley will keep it a chance to cut to within 6. It was a point, Bob, when this got to an 18-point game off a 6-point York run. We thought it might be lights out, but this Falcon team has fought back.
Well, it's a rivalry, as we mentioned. Anytime you have a rivalry, neither team is going to quit. And neither team wants to be embarrassed by the other.
Certainly strictly a playoff rivalry. They've never met in the regular season. Muse tried to bounce to Law, and John Weaver with the good defense.
Only in football.
Yep. And they've met in the playoffs in football, too.
That's right.
Briggs. Offensive 4 on Kristen Briggs.
Well, that one there is a tough call right there. I thought she'd left her feet and she got moved in. That's a tough call against Kristen. And that's a big foul. Big foul, a lot of time left.
Rick Clark, I think, is going to go big as he'll bring Brown in for Briggs, and Martell move to point.
Well, he's got Little who handles the ball just like a guard also. This is not the same Mountain Valley team we saw the first quarter. Nice job by Andrea Little stepping up. Got good position. Player had nowhere to go. She got called for the travel. That was a nice job trapping.
They've outscored York 9-4 in the 3rd quarter. Steele, Chasson missed the layup, fought to get it back, and then committed the foul. Or it was Heather Richard who committed the foul.
But right now, York not stepping to the ball. Their passes are not good passes, a little lazy. And Mountain Valley step quicker. Obviously, the second half, they're using their quickness, and that's what Coach Bernard said they had to do, is use their quickness against York's height.
Martell to Brown at half court. 35-27 York with a minute and a half left in the 3rd quarter. Reach-in foul. Heather Richards second. Well, York, after scoring 19 points in the 1st quarter, manages 12 in the 2nd, now 4 here in the 3rd.
Heather Richard, her second.
No, and if they, usually the only quarter they've been outscored all year has been the 4th, and you got to figure that's because they've had most of the games put away, and other teams maybe keeping their starters in, and York going to the bench, but
McPherson in for Mountain Valley. There's a steal by Richard. Heather Richard, no call.
Martell maybe got away with one there.
Andrea Little. And they call Richard on the trip. She picks up 3 quick fouls, and that'll put York in the bonus.
Mountain Valley fighting and clawing their way back. They're making a run and making a game of this. Again, York's biggest enemy, though, has been themselves. Too many turnovers and just not being able to put the ball in the hoop, and that's the name of the game.
Andrea Little with 8 points in the game. Make it 9. That's her first points outside of the first quarter. As Michelle Belanger, number 32, checks in. You mentioned, Bob, that Andrea, the best free throw shooter at 72%, the top scorer and number 2 rebounder.
Fine all-around player, also third in steals and assists. She really hasn't been in this game a lot, though. It's been kind of quiet for her.
Coughlin the follow.
Nice job by Laura. That was a big hoop for them.
Laura Coughlin.
3-point trip for York. As they win another 3.5 minutes without scoring.
Those are big hoops, so big points.
Lead is 11. They try to post Belanger. Here's Richard against the double team.
Tough
Rebounded
try
by Weaver.
there. Jonna had Laura Coughlin in the left wing, but Coach Clark calling out, take the last shot. Only 40 seconds remaining. He wants a good one here. We'll give and go.
Mountain Valley ball. Law out, Vigor in.
Mountain Valley's done pretty good against this pressure. They really haven't turned the ball over as much as I would have expected.
Coughlin up to Martell. Lays it in.
All they do is say something, right?
Lead back to 13. 10 seconds left in the quarter.
A couple turnovers there. There's a big turnover, especially getting a little momentum, getting some of their points back going into the fourth quarter.
They get a shot off. 2 seconds. Weaver. Not there, as the horn did not sound at 0. It reverted to 20 minutes to start counting down. So, but no harm, so to speak. And York will go into the fourth quarter with a 13-point lead on the Star Mountain scoreboard. It's the Wildcats 40, the Falcons 27. The Augusta Civic Center, and they played a decent third quarter of basketball, Bob.
They really did. They didn't score any more than they have the other first 2 quarters, but they did play much better. I thought their defensive effort was much better, and they're a very deliberate club, and you can see that if they had Kim Butte on the team, that it would be a solid team, and just a little mental mistake there as Carrie Chasson stepped on the backcourt.
So York with the ball and a 13-point lead.
Chasson, a familiar name up there in Mountain Valley. A couple of brothers that have Mike and Steve, if I remember right. Played some football. Also into wrestling. Big family.
Zanoni.
Nice thing for York, they've stayed out of foul trouble the second half, and they were actually in the bonus situation here.
With the exception of Kristen Briggs, who picked up her 4th. McPherson, whose ball comes to Joanna Brown.
Shot was blocked. That's about the 3rd block shot, I think, of the evening.
Weaver makes the layup.
Nice job. Ball on this side, everybody was overloaded this side, and nice little skip pass, and Jonna just took it strong to the hoop.
If anything, Bob, Mountain Valley's been consistent scoring in this game as York will get the ball. 9 points in the first quarter, 9 points in the second quarter, 9 points in the third quarter.
So if they get 9 right now, we can basically say the game is all done because they could only score 36 and York already has 42, right?
But we know that things don't go that way, so.
Well, you don't think they would, but you never know. I know it's funny because actually in that first quarter they scored 9. And didn't seem to be in the game at all. They scored 9 in the third quarter, and they thought they helped played York. So it's
York scoring the last 5 points of the third quarter.
Everything is relative, right?
That's right.
Your opponent scoring 19 and you're only scoring 9. You don't you're not having it so well, but if you score 9 and your opponent only scores 4, then you had a pretty good quarter.
York, 10 for 15 from the line. Weaver has 4 points in the game tonight. She is just a 38% free throw shooter.
Small crowd on hand here. A little bit surprised. It is the first game. A few people have started coming in, but I hope it be a little larger crowd as the evening wears on.
And that'll be York ball.
Mountain Valley not a real big crowd, but they're pretty vocal.
Yes.
Showing displeasure with that call.
Martell picks up the loose ball on the wing. This is a shot, rebounded by Zanoni.
3 people on the ball. Somebody's got to be open. There she is.
Belanger getting fouled underneath.
Another thing that York does extremely well, though, besides crashing the boards, is they really do a good job of getting a hand on the ball and the shooter. Earlier, they kind of let him shoot a few shots there. I thought when they got in foul trouble in the first half, kind of laid off him, but they've been contesting those shots of late.
At the line, Mary Vigor is shooting 2.
15 foul. The first on Kathleen Byrne is Mary Vigor, a sophomore. Will shoot 2. Mountain Valley has not shot well from the line, just 5 for 12. Touch over 40%. And Brown clears the board.
Let's see if York runs their offense. Man-to-man pressure. Of course, trailing. They got to go to the man-to-man. We've seen them go against the man the last few times. They've been running just the simplest of all plays, a little give and go.
Number 40, Lisa Zanoni, for 4.
Fourth foul on Zanoni. In the bonus, so Laura Coughlin will
At the line,
shoot
Laura
1 and 1.
Coughlin,
Coughlin with 6
shooting
points
1.
in the game.
Laura, not a very good free throw shooter, but again, everything is relative. Because actually, her free throw, she's not either she's not a very good free throw shooter, or she's a very good field goal shooter, or something to the fact that she's not good either way. I guess I don't know. I guess I don't know how you look at it. I'm looking at 38. Yeah, I lost myself too, so don't feel bad. But she's 38% from the field and from the free throw line. So I guess we say she's consistent. I guess that's what we should say.
Yes. Doesn't matter where she's shooting from.
And if you look at her points per game, you just turn a 38 around and it's 8.3. So
she makes 1 of 2. Weaver, good work on the boards into Joanna Brown.
Weaver's had a real good game here. Again, maybe not scored a lot of points, but she's been very active on the boards, played real solid defense. She's a player that really came on throughout the year, Eric.
Through Chasten's hands.
Nice work.
Up underneath. Zanoni got blocked by Brown and then threw it off of Cummings.
Brown does that very well. I think it's about 3rd time tonight she's knocked it off someone's legs.
Andrea Little and Kristen Briggs back in for York with 5:55 left and a 19-point Wildcat lead here, their biggest, 46-27.
Jessica Martell comes out. She's done a great job. She gets a good hand from the York crowd.
12 points, 6 for 6 from the line. Wildcats break the press. Weaver to Coughlin.
It's good. Coughlin did a nice job that time for Jonna Weaver. Jonna just had herself stopped, and she couldn't make that pass cross court, so Laura came to the same side and got herself a nice little jumper.
9 in the game for Coughlin. Richard, short. Law, blocked by Little. York's had about 5 blocks in this game. Here's Briggs. She'll hold it up. Didn't have the numbers.
I think Kristen probably a little down. Cam Neely not playing hockey. She's probably a little down a little bit. Big hockey fan.
Brown just got mugged by Cummings, and she hits the basket.
Well, maybe that's another thing. Maybe they need to have somebody all over them to make the shots. Took that one real strong to the hoop.
It's the third on Cummings. Look, she just held Brown down low.
Foul on Sarah Cummings, her third.
And Joanna, she's been the real, I think, unsung player for this team throughout the year. Getting a lot of ink from Kristen Briggs and Andrea Little and people like that, but she's quietly been the, you know, the #1 rebounder and the #2 points per game, and shooting at 61% clip at the free throw. I mean, she's really doing a real solid job for this team.
Foul on number 32, Joanna Brown, her third.
I'm sure her teammates appreciate her.
Third foul. She has 7 points in the game after missed on that free throw, so it's a 23-point lead for York. 4:45 left in the game.
Another block.
Muse getting blocked by Brown, and Brown picks up the ball as Muse is shaken up. York wants to run and traveling.
Well, I would have had a foul the other way. That one, the girl, she wasn't set. She wasn't set when Kristen turned around. That should be, you have to give the person opportunity to come down and turn around, and I think that should have been, as you mentioned, a blocking foul, but it really doesn't make a lot of difference, I don't think, at this point.
Vigor and McPherson into the game.
Make that a 2-point ball game, and York's trailing with 5 seconds, and they come down to court, and that call's made, and I wouldn't want to be that referee.
No, I wouldn't either. Richard tried to go inside, couldn't connect. Here's Weaver. Ahead to Briggs, and wow. And
almost slid into the popcorn stand there.
yeah, Heather Richard, foot the other way, goes right into that basket.
And I don't know on the bottom of that, but that doesn't look like that's protected down the bottom that well.
No, so that will qualify as longest slide by a player in the tournament to date, as Coughlin misses. She went a good 10 feet, I'd say.
Oh, yes.
10,
easily.
12 feet maybe?
12 feet, we'll go 12.
12 feet?
Yeah, that's gonna be tough to be challenged, I think.
That will be. We'll keep track of that for you during the tournament as McPherson misses. 4 minutes left in this basketball game. York looking to advance to the semifinals to play the winner of Kennebunk-Gorham.
You know, that's something that York does very well. Notice tonight on the overplay when they just overload one side and then come back to the weak side, and they have such, their people, their big people handle the ball so well and take the ball to the hoop so strong that they go one-on-one. They're really a tough match for any team. That may be something you may see a little bit more of from York.
Brown sits down with 7 as Stacy Kennedy comes back in, and we get another timeout on the court as it is a 52-27 lead with Weaver going to the line, and we'll see how she does on her free throw right after this. We'll be back. And Jonna Weaver will shoot a free throw. And misses, so it will not be a 3-point play, but Weaver now with 7 in the game.
That's where boxing out the shooter is so important right there. If not, Jonna would have had another opportunity. I think Mountain Valley's going to have to start throwing them up.
McPherson missing. And Weaver, they'll hold it up. Use the clock.
Well, they've got this one pretty much south of the way. It's Mountain Valley made a nice little run. To their credit, but to York's credit, they came back. And there, Kristen Briggs. And see, I told you, all she had to do was take a shot from the free throw line. That's all they need to do. And Laura Coughlin picked up a foul, and it's number 4 on her, I believe.
So her and Briggs have 4 as York is doubled up here on Mountain Valley, 54-27. Weaver out, and for the first time tonight, we see 5-foot junior Andrea Johansson.
At the line, Heather Richard.
Richard good on the front end.
Richard's a pretty good-looking sophomore, very poised, very confident, and it's always nice when you get that one of those left-handed shooters on your team.
Jessica O'Malley, 5'7" senior, number 22, in for York. Rick Clark starts to open up the bench. Final 3 minutes.
Just ask coach of South Portland, John Wassenberg, huh? One thing in Mountain Valley, nice ball movement. All night long, they've had good ball movement. They rotate the ball extremely well, and it gives themselves a lot of open shots because of that.
They've rebounded much better here in the second half.
Yes, they have.
I think. Blocking foul on Andrea Little, and
well, I don't know about that, but
her third.
Again, I guess we're not going to worry about it.
Her third.
Not easy to see it up here, I guess.
York will next play on Wednesday, the 19th at 3:45 p.m. here in Augusta. Again, as we mentioned.
You trying to tell me something, Eric?
Against the winner of Kennebunk-Gorham. So people who are watching tonight, 3:45 on Wednesday.
And
it's for their benefit. We
okay.
knew when they were going to play. So.
Yeah, that means that we're going to. You ready to bus?
Going to leave her for lunchtime on Wednesday, I guess, to get down here. Johansson fights for the rebound.
Not that anybody really cares.
But Chasson, yeah. Probably saying, well, you really don't care when you leave.
Yeah, right.
McPherson, as long as you're there. Stacey Kennedy, the rebound.
Let's hope. I want to mention that the state championship for B will be held in Bangor this year. Bangor Auditorium.
So the A's will play it in Portland this year. Got a lot of good basketball left for you. Later this evening, our time, delayed time, it'll be another night, but the Wells boys playing number 1 Greeley, and also the York boys at number 3 playing number 6 Marshwood. So we have 3 teams, local teams in the tournament, and after this first game, we still have 3 teams left as York will post a win here.
Yeah, and you'll be able to see that Wells game immediately following this contest.
Depending on which night of the week you watch.
Well, if you're watching on Monday night.
You're watching on Monday night.
Where else? What else will you be doing on Monday night?
Tuesday, you'll see both York teams in play,
yep,
in action.
Right.
Boys at 7:30, girls following. Then on Wednesday, a boys doubleheader. Wells boys first, followed by the York boys. McPherson missing. O'Malley the rebound.
And if you don't remember that, don't worry. Just turn to channel 12.
That's right.
Check out the bulletin board.
That's all you got to do. And if
right on the crawl.
If you don't have time to do that, then hey, give us a call. We'll talk to you.
Ask for Eric.
Melissa Stone, number 14, the final senior who has not seen action for York, will check in. 5'5", wearing number 14. Krista Briggs sits down with 4 fouls and 8 points tonight.
It'd be interesting to talk to Coach Clark after the game about this contest. You're always happy with a victory no matter what. His team played well in spurts. Didn't shoot extremely well on the evening, but the defense effort was good. And I'm sure that maybe you just work on maybe getting some of those shots to fall. A few things he could try to do to get some of those shots to fall in their next game, because of course it will get tougher the further you go. You know that.
It's not going to get any easier, that's for darn sure. Everyone has played for York with the exception of the 2 sophomores who've been brought up for the varsity, as McPherson just off again and a foul underneath the basket. We've not seen Lindsay Playstead or Molly McDonald, 2 girls who had fine JV seasons.
Well, I think Coach Clark wants to get his other players, obviously, as much playing time as he can for them, and I'm sure the sophomores understand that. They don't really expect to come up and play.
That's good just to have them here, I think, and
absolutely.
Just to sit and see what it's like.
That's right. Oh, there's not enough that can be said for just getting a feel of coming up here. You know, even for the Wells team, the fact that they beat Gorham the other night, I think that was so important for them just to get up here and play on this court. You do that year in and year out, and it's such an advantage when you come in here. And then when you do have that team that maybe can do something, it really can pay dividends for you because they've had that experience from the year before.
54-30 is our score with 1:05 left in the basketball game. Mary Vigor making 1 of 2 free throws. Mel Griffin back into the game again for York, number 24.
We will not have a player of the game for any of our tournament games. That doesn't mean to say there was not a player of the game. I guess if we're looking at York tonight, a couple in mind. Certainly Jessica Martell's effort stands out in my mind as one of the real strong. And
so York attempting, by the way, to get to the regional final for the 5th time in 7 years. They've been to the regional final 4 times out of the last 6 years, last winning it in '86.
This has been almost like a home away from home for Coach Clark. This is their 2nd season they play up here.
They've played a season's worth of games here easily in the time that he's been coach.
Right.
They probably average playing at least 2, sometimes, you know, I mean, how many is 3?
Well, that's where his experience obviously comes in. He usually has his girls prepared. He does a nice job with them. And it's not easy. He knew coming in the #1 seed it's not the easiest road because everyone's gunning for you. It's almost like every team that plays you has nothing to lose and you have everything to lose. And it's much more difficult being on the top of the hill. It's tough to stay there. Again, Marshwood 2 years in a row lost to York in the quarters 1 year, lost them in the semis, and another year, I believe it was 90 and 91. Those were good Marshwood teams, very good Marshwood teams. But again, it's tough when you're up on top. The only way you can go is down, right?
That's right. Only one place to go. And York has been on the top of the heel point standings virtually all season long. And Marshwood, really after being #1 in the heel points the last 3 years, finished 2nd this year.
Nice head fake.
And shot short by Amy Briggs, who's come into the game. Back out to the free throw line where Muse makes a shot.
This is a young team. And they're going to be a team to contend with in the future. They certainly are. They've got almost all these players coming back.
And York holds Mountain Valley to just 5 points in the 4th quarter, and in this quarterfinal round game, post an easy 54-32 victory, and they will advance to the semifinal round on Wednesday, the 19th, at 3:45, as they will play either Kennebunk or Gorham.
And again, they got off to a real good start, and I think for a while there it just came too easy for them, but they started to maybe rush their shots just a little bit, and maybe show the patience on offense that they'd like to, but it's tough to fault them. And you got to give Mountain Valley a lot of credit. They didn't quit. They came out in the 2nd half. They executed their offense. They made some shots, and they fought themselves back to 8 and made it look like it was going to be a ball game. But again, to York's credit, they just kind of put their foot on the pedal and pulled away with it, and showed that when they make up their minds that they can play ball about as well as anybody can.
Okay, let's take a look at the final scoring summary for both of these ball clubs. For Mountain Valley, they were led by freshman Mariah Muses, 8. Carrie Chasson also had 8. Heather Richard, a sophomore, had 6. Corrine Law with 4. Dot McPherson with 4. Elisa Zanoni with 3. And Mary Vigor with 1. For York, very balanced scoring among the 6 girls that scored tonight. They were led by Jessica Martell, coming off the bench with 12 points tonight. Andrea Little, Jonna Weaver, and Laura Coughlin all had 9. Kristen Briggs with 8, and Joanna Brown with 7. So the Wildcats will advance to the semifinals with a 54-32 win. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage tonight. We'll see you next time on Game of the Week. And that's going to wrap it up. For Steve Twombly and Bob Gould, I'm Eric Nelson. Have a nice night.